Hello, welcome to Crafts by Elaine. Today I want to show you how to make some little boxes. This one I've actually made from a card, so it's a really good craft for recycling Christmas cards, birthday cards, any cards that you get. This one here, slightly bigger, I've actually used some A4 size craft paper, but you could use big sheets of card from a craft store depending on the size of box you want. The principle is exactly the same, it just depends obviously what size card you start with will depend what size box you finish up with. So let's have a look at this little one here. You do need to use a card that is square. This card is just over 15 centimetres square, and it's quite important that your design is centred, or as centred as you can get it. It's great if you've got a little motif in the centre of the card. But I always think with crafts, playing about is half the fun, and you'll see what different results you get. So if you've got a rectangular card, you may want to cut that down and start. You must start with a square, is what I'm saying. So I'm just going to cut the front and the back to make them separate. If you have got writing on the inside of the card, which you well may have if the card's been sent to you, I'll show you how to deal with that later. As it happens, mine is blank. Right, so this is the front of my card, which is what I'm working with first. So face down, take a ruler and you want to position it diagonally, okay? And make sure you've got your points lined up on the ruler. You just need to put a little mark somewhere in the middle. You don't need to score the whole lot, just somewhere in the middle. And then you do it exactly the same going the other way. This is to mark the centre of the square. And you can rub this out afterwards. You see my little cross there, that's noting the centre point. So what you need to do next is to take each one of these 4 points and bend them in to the centre. Now you can see this card I'm working with is a nice quality card. It's very thick, and so pressing alone just with my finger will not suffice. You really need very crisp folds to get this a good shape when it's finished. So you can use a bone folder, but I prefer to use a metal ruler for this because I've got a wider piece that I'm pressing down, giving me a bit more coverage. Make sure all those points meet up in the centre, and make sure that you've got good crisp corners like that. So give it all a really good press. So that's step 1. Now you can bend all these back like that, and what you're going to do now is go around again, position 1 as it was, and then you're going to take this edge here and fold it in to the centre. I hope you can all see that. And again, press it really firmly. The sharper you get these creases, the better your box will look when it's finished. Now you can go round in a circle, doing each side. I actually prefer to do opposite sides first and then do the 2 remaining opposite sides. Can you see how I'm really pressing that? And then we'll do the 2 remaining sides. Now some of you may have done an origami box before. There are a couple of different ways of doing this. I actually think this is the best way. It does involve scissors. There is another technique where you just fold, but the box isn't as good when it's finished. So I advise you to do it this way if you want to make a little box. So this is my last side now. Just give it a really good crease. Now having got to that stage, I hope this shows up on the camera. If you look at your card with all these crease lines in the middle you will have a square without any creases on. This will become the centre of your box. Okay, you won't have any creases on the top of your box. So we're cutting into this square here. So what I do, I take my scissors and from the edge I just cut to the corner of that centre square. And then I do the same on this side. So can you see what I've done? I've taken it to the 2 points. Now I'm going to cut it from here to that corner and from here to that corner. So it's just 4 little cuts. And as I'm always saying, if you use scissors that have got a longer blade, it will mean you don't keep hacking at your card, so you'll get a smoother line. So that's now where I'm up to. Hope you can all see that. Turn it round so that you've got a wide edge facing you. And all you're going to do is to fold this up. And this is already creased, so you're just bending it in. And then we'll do the opposite side. Fold your creases in and bend these side pieces so you can see where the box is now already. Turn it again and we'll work on the 2 shorter ones, narrower ones should I say. Holding that overlap in place, bring the narrow piece over and tuck it inside. Now if you've done your creases really firmly, this will be a doddle, it's so easy. Overlap them, bring the short end over and just tuck it in. And that's it. Now, depending on the card you've used, sometimes, as you can see here, these pieces may or may not be a little bit loose. Sometimes they are loose, sometimes they stick down straight away. If it's sticking up, you can put a little bit of glue just to hold it down a bit firmer. I don't even need one on the other side, just to make it a little bit, actually we will, make it a little bit neater. And that now is the lid of your box. And I think it's quite nice the way the pattern actually continues on round the sides. So when it comes to doing the base, okay, like this, you need to put, your remaining card, the back of your card, just a fraction shorter. So I'm thinking half, I'll just draw this with a pencil so you can see. I'm thinking 1/2 centimetre, like that, is enough. It needs to be a little bit smaller, I would cut that, because obviously the lid has to go on the base. And you can always squeeze the edges in just to assist. The one thing you don't want is when you put the lid on, the bottom to drop. So you want a really good snug fit. If on the inside of the base you've got some printing or writing, it doesn't look all that attractive. What I do, it's got blown away, is I just cut a tiny piece of tissue paper and I can just push that into the base of the box. And these boxes are so useful for, you know, pieces of jewellery. I actually made a large quantity of these as cake boxes for a wedding cake. So, you know, you can make them any size you like. So there you go. Have fun with your recycled cards and make some nice little boxes.